Welcome to I Am Well podcast. I am your host, Gemma, a nutritionist and mindset coach passionate about all things health and wellness. I'm going to take you on a journey to discovering what health means for you and how to create a life you love living. I'm on a mission to uplift those who feel overwhelmed with what it means to be healthy, reminding you, my listeners, that nutrition is only one aspect of health, and empower you to live your best life on your terms. Let's get to it. Hello, everyone. And welcome back to my second episode of my podcast. Okay, so today is... it's a bit of an exciting day for myself. As I said in the last episode, I'm a mum of 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and my husband has been away for the past 2 weeks. Yeah, he's been away for the past 2 weeks. I'm literally losing track of time. If there are any mums that listen to this, you'd understand. I feel like my body has been bruised and battered. I feel like I am running off such minimal sleep, and everything that if you're in really into the health and wellness industry, everything you see and hear is always you need to have enough sleep. When you are lacking sleep, it is literally driving you crazy. I remember it's in I've seen those SAS episodes where they literally show how, they try to train you for the army or whatever. And they torture them by giving them lack of sleep, and it drives them insane. And that's how I'm feeling. I'm practically done the SAS training. So today is the day that I get to see my husband, Shane. It feels like it has been a month. I am so excited because we live on the Gold Coast in Queensland, but we're staying in Brisbane for the night. It's our wedding anniversary tomorrow. It is our 6-year wedding anniversary, and we've been together for 11 years. And I'm just so excited. We're going out to a comedy show tonight, and then I just am so excited for the sleep that I will get tonight. The fact that I can have a full night's sleep and I get to wake up at whatever time I want tomorrow is incredible. Lately, I have been trying to wake up earlier than the kids. So the kids would usually wake up at either 5:30, 6. If I am lucky, sometimes on the odd occasion, it might be a 6:30 a.m. wake up. So I try to wake up earlier than them. And most times I do around 4:30, but if I am just exhausted, I'll push it back to about 5:30. But this morning, my kids beat me. They were up at 4. And I was like, there's no winning. There is no winning out of this. You plan to get up earlier than your kids, and I am wrecked. I am wrecked today. So I'm so excited that we're going to the city, seeing Shane again when we haven't seen him for 2 weeks, and I've been single parenting, and to have a night's rest to myself. My body needs it. I am exhausted. So if I make some mistakes today, you will know it is because I'm running off lack of sleep. Anywho, let's get into it. I really wanted to talk today about calories, because I feel like calories is what the nutrition industry talks about, what the fitness industry is all about, what the weight loss industry is all about. It's all about calories at the moment, and being in a calorie deficit diet. It's something that was quite toxic for me growing up. I remember a time when I was in high school, and it was coming up to the end of my schooling, so I was almost finished, and it was a really stressful time. And I used to dance a lot before then, but then I wasn't dancing as much because we had moved states and I had to find a new dance school, so I wasn't dancing as much. And I blamed this as the reason why I started putting on weight. But I was also going through a lot of other things. Like at the time, I didn't get my period for 5 months and my doctor couldn't figure out why, so she just put me on the pill to fix it, which is what most doctors do. They just fix it with the pill as a Band-Aid. And I think it was a lot to do with stress. Like, I think I was highly stressed at the time. When I got put on the pill, I was also told that I needed to put on weight. So add butter to everything is what my doctor said. And that's what I did. And I just thought, oh yeah, fine. But like, that was really, it just didn't work well for me. It just didn't sit well for me. I started putting on weight and it really got to me in my head. And I became so obsessed of the foods that I was eating. I got that app that, I don't know if it's still around. Probably is, and it may be different. Back then, it's called MyFitnessPal, and I used that. I used it for a good year, and I became obsessed with it, though. I went toxic with it. Like, I would say I really badly wanted a donut, and I was like, oh, I just really want it. Like, how many? And then I'd search how many sit-ups or star jumps would I have to do to burn off this donut? And it would tell me like 60 sit-ups and 60 star jumps. So I'm like, yeah, I can do that. But I didn't tell anyone that I was doing that. So I would eat the donut. Then I would go off to my room and do 60 sit-ups and 60 star jumps in my bedroom. No one knew in my family. My parents, my sister, like no one knew. And that just started, that unhealthy obsession with calories started then. Which is why I have not counted calories for the last 2 to 3 years. Like, I just made it a conscious effort about 2 or 3 years ago, and I was like, counting calories does not work for me in my mindset, and it was not a sustainable choice for me. I will not put myself mentally in that position ever again. It was mentally draining. Now, flash forward to now, right? And what are calories? Like, let's really dive into that. Like, what are calories? This is like what's crazy is how they measure calories in a food. So picture this. If you want to find out how many calories are in a donut, you put the donut into a box. So just oxygen-filled box. You then put this box into a big jar of water, a big box of water, and then you somehow light that donut on fire while it's inside the box. No water's in there. You light it on fire inside the box that's inside this big container of water. Then, once the donut's fully burnt, you then test the temperature of the water that surrounds the box. And whatever the temperature of it is, that's how many calories are in the donut. Isn't that crazy? So it's just, calories are just a unit of energy of the food. How quick, like how the temperature that the water is around the food that's burning. Like, what? So that's why it's like when they show you those things, and you know, I don't know my calories well, as you can tell, I don't count calories. So say there's like 300 calories in a donut. Well, you could eat, I don't know, maybe an apple and banana and berries or something, and that could also be 300 calories, but you've been eating more, you know, like, so it's so hard to compare calories or to be in a calorie deficit diet and still get people to measure the quality of food over the quantity. Because I saw something today and it was like 1,300 calories or something it was like, I think a Macca's burger with chips and a Coke. compared to you could have this breakfast with, I think it was oats or something, and then your lunch is like sweet potato and chicken and broccoli, and then you have these snacks in between, and then at the end of the day you're having berries and yogurt and stuff, and all of that equaled 1,300 calories. And you're eating constantly throughout the day, whereas you're eating one meal compared to the Macca's meal. So calorie deficit diets, though, they are proven to lose weight. Like, don't get me wrong, that is a thing. We all see it time and time again. People are losing weight on calorie deficit diets. But what most people don't show is that 90% of people who implement some sort of diet will put the weight back on once the diet's over, or once they kind of go back to their normal eating cycle. Even if they don't go back to their normal eating cycle too, because I'll explain this. So our bodies, when we get into a calorie deficit diet, our bodies have this metabolic set point. All of us have our own metabolic set point, and they used to think it was due to like genetics, but it's not. It actually changes. Your metabolic set point can be trained. So when you so your metabolic set point first, I'll explain that for a bit. So this is where your body maintains its weight with a certain set of calories. So you're on a certain set of calories, and that's how you maintain your weight. Well, when you go to a calorie deficit diet, you're obviously eating less calories and, say, exercising more. That's the whole idea. So at the beginning, you're losing weight because you're eating less than your metabolic set point, than what your body needs to maintain. Well, this set point can get trained. So you go into a calorie deficit diet, and the set point transitions and goes, okay, this is, say you're usually at 2,000 calories, and you've made it now 1,300, your body goes, okay, 1,300 is our new set point. So that's why you hit a plateau, and you just can't lose any more weight anymore, and it's just not working. And this is where people get hungrier, because more hormones are kicked in and sent to the brain, because it's telling you to eat more, that this isn't right, you should eat more. So it's sending it's signaling that hormone ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, and it's going to want to make you eat more. So you put on the weight, you put the weight back on that you just lost, plus more. This is why calorie deficit diets are just not sustainable. And it's not talked a lot about in the health and fitness industry, because trainers, they love to get their clients' results, of course. And it's amazing when they can get those results for their clients. But what about when they can no longer afford the trainer anymore, or they stop with the coaching, and then it's all up to the client? They don't get taught this, and they're doing all the right things. They're still on the same diet that they were told to do. They're still sticking to the same amount of calories, but it's not working anymore. And you know what they then do? They then start blaming themselves. And it's just becomes this vicious cycle of, I'm doing really well, or what am I doing wrong? I'm doing really well, what am I doing wrong? Like, why isn't this working for me? It was when I was with my coach, now it's not working for me. What is going on? Another reason why people hit plateaus too, because it's not, as we were saying, it's when we focus on calories, sometimes it's all about how many calories you're eating and not what foods you're eating. And this is why, once again, we have to look at the quality of the food. So toxins are huge nowadays, and I know people hear this every now and then and maybe do an eye roll, like, oh, everything's toxic, everything's going to give me cancer. I hear that all the time when people are like, everything's going to give me cancer, so what does it matter? But I think it matters to have the awareness Okay, I'm not saying you can't ever have McDonald's again, but to have the awareness of what it does to your body, and then so you can understand and go, okay, well, maybe I'll only have that once a month or once every couple of months. You know what I mean? Like, you can make more decisions based on that awareness that you now have, that knowledge, that new knowledge that you now have. So toxins are huge. When we digest toxins, or even from the clothes that we're wearing, perfumes that are around us, they go into our bloodstream, into our body, and it gets stored straight to fat, straight as belly fat. Belly fat is a huge one that people don't know enough about. And I highly recommend this. What's her name? Mindy Pelz. That's her name. MindyPelz. I'm just looking her up. Yeah, she's a doctor. Yeah, Dr. Mindy Pelz. She's all about fasting, and she's a hormone expert as well. And she talks a lot about belly fat that people don't know about, like how it's not just from the foods that we're eating, but from the toxins around us too. When our body gets an excess of toxins and it doesn't know what to do with it, it gets stored straight to body fat. So the diet soda drinks, like Diet Coke is a huge one. Diet Coke, there is no sugar, no calories, perfect, right? Especially for diabetics too, right? It's not going to give you a high glucose spike. It is awesome. But the toxins from Diet Coke, if you're drinking too much, your body gets an excess and it will store it straight to belly fat. So you're sticking to your calorie deficit diet. You're like, I'm doing all the right things. I'm having my Diet Coke because it's not adding to my calories. But why have I still got this fat around my belly region that I cannot get rid of? It could be the toxins that you're ingesting. There's lots of toxins around us. We've got so many microplastics within our body that it's hard to avoid in this day and age. The only thing, like, I'm only just starting to implement little things within my household, going like low tox cleaning items. I first went for my cleaning items, and then I've taken out all my plastic containers and I now have glass containers. It's a work in progress. Like, it takes time, and eventually, like, I would love to get to a point where I rarely have anything toxic in my household anymore, but I'm just doing little by little. So I totally get it, how it can be overwhelming, and you don't have to have it all done today. These are things that, once again, so that you have awareness of what's going on and you can make those informed decisions and start just little by little, you know? So yes, toxins is a big one. Cortisol. So when you are highly stressed, when our body gets an excess of cortisol, it gets stored straight to belly fat. When the body doesn't know what to do with the cortisol, it gets stored straight to belly fat. What else? And hormones. Hormones is a huge one. Us women don't know enough about our hormones. So if you're really struggling, you've been in this calorie deficit diet, or you've just been on any sort of diet and it's not working, and say you've got this belly fat still that you just can't get rid of, have you had your hormones checked? Estrogen, having excess estrogen that our body doesn't know what to do with, gets stored straight to belly fat. I'm telling you, you have to look up Mindy Pelz. She talks a lot about this. She has YouTube videos. They're all like free to watch, obviously, and it's just so interesting. And she talks about this stuff that we don't hear enough about. We literally just hear about I am in this industry, right? I only ever see calorie deficit diets and what's good and what's bad for you, but nothing, not the science behind it that's explaining the why. As I said, so then you can make those informed decisions. We also have to remember that it's not your fault either. It's not your fault. So after all this, just a reminder that there is not enough of this information out there, and the quality of food that surrounds us, it's ridiculous. So it's not your fault. The thing that like frustrates me to no end is that we still have these items of food that are marketed such as low fat. Low fat annoys me so much because people don't realize they're going for low fat options because they think fat is what adds on weight. But when they take out the fat from all these products, it's not going to taste as nice. It's going to taste foul. So they will add sugar so that it tastes nicer and say low fat. It's healthy. It's low fat. So you're going to buy this yogurt that says it's low fat, and you're going to be on your diet and still be putting on weight or not losing weight, and you're going, what's going on? And it's because your body's getting an excess load of sugar. And you had no idea because you went for the low fat option because that's what society tells you. This happened like a few years ago. I think it was in the 80s when there was they used to talk a lot about how fat was detrimental to our health and how we had to avoid fat for heart disease and everything. So that's when the marketing industry really took off, and they brought out all these options of low-fat foods. But it's now come out, ever since they did that, we've had increase of diabetes, more obesity, more autoimmunity, because people are going for these options and they don't know, like the market's telling us like it's low fat, it's good for us. And they don't know that they're eating so much more sugar now. So you will not see me go for low fat foods. I actually was looking for sour cream the other day, and I looked at the ingredients and I actually found one. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll post it if you're still curious. But if you read the back of the ingredients, it literally just says the ingredients that you can read, that you actually understand, like milk, like I can't even remember, but I could understand it. You know, I remember seeing milk there and I was like, oh, I know what that is. And when you read the ones that are low fat options, read the back of the ingredients. This one had like 4 ingredients. Read the back of the others and you'll be shocked. So it's not your fault. We get told to go for these sorts of foods that they're going to be better for our health. And times are stressful too. So it's not like, it's hard to bring down your cortisol levels in such a stressful environment at the moment. We have so many more devices. Everyone's on their phone. There's social media. We just went through a pandemic. Like, that was one of the most stressful times for a lot of people, especially those who had their own businesses. And so it's not your fault at the end of the day. There's also been, the talk of calorie deficit diets and other diets, and saying that everyone needs to be on this to lose weight. But we also have to remember that everyone is different. So what's going to work for one person isn't going to work for the other. And we have to be aware of that. So if you're watching an influencer and you're seeing that they did this diet and they've lost this amount of weight, and then they give you a meal plan of exactly what they eat, and then you do the exact same meal plan, everything to a T, and you're still not seeing results, your body has different needs to this influencer's body. Your body might have a different metabolic set point. Everyone's got different metabolic set points. So you might need different amount of calories to the other lady, even though we don't count calories here. I'm just putting that as an example. So at the end of the day, let's talk about now what we can do. So we've got all this information, about calories and why they're not the be all and end all, and why we shouldn't really stress ourselves out with a calorie deficit diet. There's no need. So now what can we do with this information? Well, lowering stress is a huge one. And I bet you weren't thinking that I was going to say that one first. But a lot of us are stressed. A lot of us are highly stressed. And we really, really need to bring those cortisol levels down. High cortisol is causing so many illnesses that people don't even realize. It's amazing what cortisol can do to the body and how your body reacts to it. And remember, I love this analogy. I heard someone say like this the other day, but remember that when your body is putting on weight, that's your body trying to protect you. So when you're adding fat around your belly region, it's because your body's getting all this excess cortisol and it doesn't know what it can't put it in. It can't store it into the cells. They're all backed up. So it doesn't know what to do with it. So it doesn't want it to harm your organs. So it's going to pop them into your fat stores. So like your belly fat, because it's trying to protect you. So it's just really good to remember that love your body, because your body is protecting you. That fat that you see, that's your body doing that so that you can survive and thrive. But lowering stress, that is a huge one. This is why I really highly recommend looking into meditation. I fit it in most mornings and then even do it throughout my day when I feel highly stressed. Like I have 2 kids, as I said, and these last 2 weeks have been one of the most stressful weeks of my life. I have done meditation more times these last 2 weeks than I ever have before. And breathing exercises. Now, if you've never done meditation before and you're like, it's cringy, I can't do it, I can't sit there in silence, try the guided meditation. There is that app called Insight app, I think. Insight Timer. And that has heaps of different guided meditations on there that you can try. You also want to try some breathing exercises. So taking a deep breath in through your nostrils and breathing out as like a sigh of relief out of your mouth. Try to make the breathe out longer than the breath in, and do this 6 times through, and you will trick your nervous system into thinking you are relaxed. Meditations. Just remember too that it is okay if you're sitting there and you have these thoughts come through and it's all mumble jumble and you're trying to calm them down. It's okay. They're allowed to come through. You can either sit there and look at them, or you can let them pass and then try to just center yourself with your breathing and come back to the meditation. My business coach actually had a really good idea, and she was saying that if you are a person where you get to meditation and all these thoughts come through and you just can't get them to stop, try writing it all down first. So write everything down and then do the meditation after. And at least because you've got it all down on paper, it might not pop in your head while you're doing the meditation now, because you've already addressed it. You've already got it on paper. You already know you're not going to forget. So your subconscious is like, okay, we can relax now. But yeah, highly recommend meditation. I also recommend checking your hormones. We don't get told this enough, but women, if something feels off, even men, I shouldn't just say women, even men, if something feels off, you are very tired, you're very fatigued, or you're all out of sorts, and you just go with your gut instinct. If something feels off, go to your doctor and get your hormones checked. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, get it checked. And fasting. That Dr. Mindy Pelz talks about this a lot. And there's a certain way you do it. So I highly recommend looking into it. Intermittent fasting and other form autophagy fasting. I will explain those in later episodes, but they are proven to heal your gut, regenerate your cells, and restore your health. So I highly recommend looking into this. As again, I'm pitching her again, but Mindy, Dr. Mindy Pels, look at her Instagram and she talks all about this. It's helping so many people out there. And just looking at the foods that you're including, the quality of foods that you're including. If you can just look at just cutting back on the ultra processed foods that you see. Try to get into the habit more of reading the ingredients on the back and seeing if you understand them. Some chemicals are okay, like, don't get me wrong. So it can be tricky at times, and some long words might seem bad, but then they're actually good for us. But get into looking into the ingredients and looking at the back. What I highly recommend is when you look at the back and you look at the nutritional information, always compare 100 grams to 100. So it'll say like per 100. Always use that to compare both, because then that's going to doesn't matter how much is in the packet, it's going to compare the exact same amounts. And then you also want to look at the fiber. So if they include fiber in there, that's great. And if the fiber is higher, so dietary fiber, if that is higher than the sugar, that's what you want. You always want the fiber higher than the sugar. Now, once again, I am not saying that this means you cannot have your favorite treat foods. You can, but it's about the awareness. And if you really want to reach those health goals, you really need to start understanding all these aspects of what they're doing to your body and how, and just, as I said, it's the awareness, just not making your informed decisions now. I hope this kind of makes sense. Yes, so if this has helped you, please send me a message. Or if you have any questions, please send me a message through Instagram. My social media is Gemma Waterstone. And I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm so excited because I'm going away now. So this is me signing off to go enjoy my time, and I hope you all enjoy yours. So see you guys. Bye.